Hello, everyone. My name is Leon Harvey, and we're from Rochester Early College International High School. First, I'd like to share a quote with you from a senior from El Segundo High in California. The bottom line is that we have to convince ourselves that we can go to college, that we can achieve anything that we want to be, and that we can own a business. Once we do that, then we can let all of their negativity bounce right off of us. It is like a big tug of war for our minds. We're pulling on one side, telling ourselves that we're smart, bright, and talented. They are pulling on the other side, saying that we're dumb, lazy, and will never amount to anything in life. In the Rochester City Schools, 43% of the students graduate in 4 years, with less than 5% considered college ready. This would be compared to the average suburban school, which is about 90% of graduation, which whom 90% or more go on to college.
We interviewed our peers,
and we consulted research literature on urban schools as well as urban students.
We learned
there's more to the story than we thought.
From our peers, we learned about the individual lives and choices, and from our research literature, we learned about the institutional factors and realities that influence, shape, and limit those individuals' lives and choices. My friends, Kayla Rizzo and Crystal Knight, will share some quotes with you illustrating the personal choices and institutional influences.
Quote, education is important in our house, and me and my sisters know that our parents will not accept bad grades in school, end quote. This quote shows the student's personal decision to work hard in school and get good grades for the benefit of her future. It was her motivation to make her parents proud of her, and that's why she did good in school.
Quote, when I came here, it was like these teachers think that just because we're black kids from the ghetto that we can't learn. Unquote. If educators play into stereotypes that are placed by society, the whole system becomes corrupt.
Quote, having to choose between an academic identity of success, referred to as acting white, and their racial and ethnic identity as African American. This shows the struggle of finding ourselves in high school, and it is a struggle. We can cause drops or increases in our grades depending on who we hang out with. Cliques. It's a part of high school culture.
Quote, the strongest correlations with the SAT scores remains with the socioeconomic status of students' homes and their economic attainment of their parents, end quote. If all the students whom are performing well live, go to school, and cohabitate in the same community, that doesn't just happen on accident. We're segregated.
Quote, I wonder sometimes, if I wasn't in AP classes, would I think that I'm not as smart as I am? End quote. Everyone likes to be smart. Face it, humans love knowledge. Whether students are shooting for A's, B's, C's, or even D's, everybody has their own personal motivation for their grades in school.
Quote, the cultural incongruence that exists between culturally diverse students and their school environments frequently results in discriminatory practices, such as low-end tracking, low teacher expectations, and increase in punitive actions, end quote. Do they expect students who don't have the same academic opportunities to obtain the same academic identity? If they discriminate against our inner city students and fail to provide us with adequate resources, how do they expect us to succeed? It's important to note that in spite of all the evidence of institutional obstacles and their impact on urban students, our peers whom we interviewed never mentioned them. They seemed unaware, and if you're not aware of the problem, you can't solve it.
The ancient Greek philosopher Plato knew that if you could change the garden of symbols in which people grow up, that is, their intuitive sense of beautiful and ugly, of the good and bad, and of the fair and unfair, you would change their choices, and therefore the world. Current ideas, language, and institutions confine our peers and shape their choices in ways that they don't realize. Thus, the identities they forge may not fit them or even work for them.
Current ideas, language, and institutions must be changed, and it is up to us to do so.
We must change our minds, to change our language, to change our institutions. We invite you now to pick up your blank index cards and share with us your ideas, your words, and your questions for the new movement. In a few minutes, after you guys write down your questions and ideas, we're going to ask a few volunteers to share with us. Afterwards, we're going to share with you what we want to do. Just to repeat what I asked you guys to do, we'd like you to write down your ideas, your questions, or your words for how we can change the world with our new movement. That could be anything from using new language in schools or how we can tell people more about the movement. Would anybody like to share what they wrote down on their index cards? In the back? Yeah.
It's just me, but I believe that the youth of today take out class action lawsuits against the federal government, charging them with using discriminatory segregation language and not concentrating on our children's gifts and talents, but using their disabilities to profit from their priorities.
Thank you. Over here with the red hair. Just to repeat what she said we should focus more on the artistic side of things rather than just being cut and dry grades. Would anybody else like to share? Okay, Chris, oh, back there?
I think you need to increase the awareness of institutional racism for budding teachers and current teachers.
Thank you. Over here?
I think that within schools, that young, especially in urban districts where the majority of students are African American, that they need to be taught their history and not just slavery.
Thank you.
I said there needs to be more opportunities for summits so that teachers and students can talk, and so that they know that there's not
it's not necessary to create enemies just because there's teachers and students. And with that, those who have personal backgrounds or discrimination and racism, they'll know that they're outnumbered because there's a bigger alliance of teachers and students.
Thank you. I'm going to share with you now what we wrote down in our cards. I'm going to start, and then Crystal will share her idea. I said that personally, I feel like we need to educate our peers within the schools more. Just from my experience in high school, I feel like not a lot of students really understand the problems that are going out in the community. Things like police violence and even social media from some of our earlier presentations. Not everybody is really aware of what's going on, and that needs to change.
My idea was that we as a culture should altogether abolish terms like unsuccessful and successful because it forces an identity on a student that they may not agree with. There are different terms and different ideas that go behind the terms success and unsuccessful, and everyone may not agree with them.
My idea was if we could get more of our youth to have the mindset that Nelson Mandela referred to when he said that education is the most powerful weapon you can use in which to change the world, then I think with that we can start to change our language and our institutions.
And now we're going to hear from Leon Harvey.
Before we go, we would like to leave you with a quote from one of Rochester's own, Frederick Douglass. If there's no struggle, there's no progress. Thank you very much for your time, and have a good day.